My name is Ethan Gardner, and I am 31 years old. I live in Riverside, Illinois, and I have dedicated my life to being a teacher. My days are filled with the joy of guiding young minds and nurturing their curiosity. I love reading, hiking, and participating in community events that uplift our neighborhood. However, some time back, my world was shaken in ways I could never have expected, and it all began with someone I thought I could trust. Her name was Leela, a fellow teacher who seemed sweet at first. We had a brief fling during the holidays, but it ended amicably with no strings attached. Perhaps it was the holiday cheer that made me lower my guard, but after we parted ways, things quickly turned sour. As the joyful holiday season faded, the warmth around us turned cold. Leela, in particular, seemed to spiral into paranoia. She thought I had told people about our brief relationship, which was not the case. Instead of talking to me, she began to twist her thoughts into something malicious. I tried to maintain my distance, but her increasingly erratic behavior began to impact my life significantly. She started to send me threatening texts, and with each message, I felt my sense of safety dissolve. I had always prided myself on being strong and resilient, but her words turned into a dark cloud that hung over me as I faced my work each day. I could feel the weight of her paranoia pressing down on me, filling me with anxiety. It got so bad that during one particularly stressful day at work, I had a panic attack. My heart raced, my breathing became erratic, and all I could think was that I was trapped in this nightmare. I was rushed to the hospital, and during all this chaos, Leela remained unfazed. She didn't care, she just continued her reign of terror through her messages. Upon my return, my supervisors noticed something was wrong. They could sense the unease within me, and they knew I loved teaching the kids. They were concerned that if I was struggling so much with my mental health, it could jeopardize the safety of my students. After a couple of tense discussions, I made the difficult decision to confide in them. I showed them my phone, all the documented messages that proved my ordeal. Their expressions turned serious as they read through her threats. They immediately took action. Leela was removed from her position and barred from our school. The whispers of my vindication echoed through my mind as I watched them take her away. But the news did not stop there. My supervisors contacted the principal of the other school where Leela was set to work. They flagged her, and suddenly she was a pariah in the educational community. It felt like a wave of relief washed over me, but it was quickly tainted by a creeping guilt. I found out later that Leela was working at a private Jewish school far from Riverside, one that had been embroiled in its own issues with the law. She faced financial turmoil, struggling to afford rent while desperately looking for help on social media. Despite what she had put me through, there was a part of me that couldn't help but feel sorrow for her. I would hear rumors about her that twisted my stomach. She was now a single mother with two sons who deserved better than the situation into which they were thrust. I felt like I was living in a moral gray area. I was proud of standing up for myself. I had done the right thing by protecting my job and my students. Yet I could not rid myself of the feeling that my actions had led to her unraveling. Maybe she was a victim of her own paranoia, trapped in a web of her making. But I knew I had to be strong, not just for me but for the kids who depended on me. I refused to let her intimidation affect my ability to teach and inspire them. Slowly but surely, life returned to some semblance of normal for me. I kept moving forward in my career, but every so often I would find myself peering into the corners of my mind, haunted by the choices I had made. I would dare to wonder if I had truly done the right thing. Was justice served, or had I just dealt a heavy blow to a struggling woman? Perhaps revenge could never be straightforward. It leaves a mixture of bitterness and relief in its wake. Maybe it is the price we pay not just for our own peace, but for the darkness we sweep away from our lives. As I walked into my classroom one day, ready to face a new group of eager young minds, I realized something vital. Life moves on, often quicker than we are prepared for. And as I stood at the front of the classroom, teaching the next generation, I made a silent promise to both myself and the universe. I would choose to lift others, especially in times of vulnerability, because I know how it feels to be a victim of circumstances. Leela had lost her way, and while I would not be there to guide her back, I could ensure that the children in my care would always have a safe space to learn and grow, free from the shadows of adult drama. In a way, I had won my personal battle. And in that, I found my closure.